in the country is a major concern for the stakeholders who gathered in Lagos yesterday. Our correspondent Ini Thompson reports.
With the world population currently at about 7.3 billion and projected to hit 9.6 billion in 2050, according to the United Nations report, factors that may affect these figures are discussed as often as possible, especially on World Population Celebration Days. The focus for 2015 is on a group of people described as the vulnerable population. Nigeria is not without its share.
In the last 5 years, Nigeria has experienced various dimensions of challenges, from communal clashes, natural disasters, conflicts, and most importantly, violence related to the insurgency by Boko Haram armed groups in the northeast, with women and children majorly challenged.
After recognizing the vulnerables, the discussion shifts to alleviating their suffering, which is a lack of basic needs of life. However, the representative of UNICEF, Mrs. Sharon Oladiji, believes that effective succor will only be experienced after an accurate population data has been generated.
Communities, governments, and donors cannot effectively plan interventions, monitor and evaluate impact of a whole range of social protection programs, including inheritance, child custody, healthy initiatives, especially for the vulnerable populations.
These figures may have already been generated by the National Emergency Management Agency, as Mr. Emenike Umesi, a deputy director, discloses that as of June 2015, the agency recognized 1.4 million displaced persons in the northeast. He paints a picture of some realities in the camp.
You can imagine a man who had a family. By the time he comes back from work, his wife has already made food for him. If they don't do that, he will start shouting from the gate. Now himself, his wife, his children don't know when the next meal will drop. Water, sanitation, and hygiene. You can imagine queuing up as number 40 to bath in the morning.
NEMA and other concerned agencies are asking Nigerians to celebrate this year's Population Day by contributing to the welfare of IDPs in the country. Ini Thompson reporting for Channels Television News.
Coming up on Newstrack, business analysts project marginal participation by offshore community in DMO offices auctions until liquidity improves. Details shortly.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, business decisions are taken across the globe. From banking to the capital market, manufacturing to maritime, from aviation to insurance, SMEs to blue-chip companies. We look at the different angles of business from the government and private sector perspectives. We speak with experts to provide unbiased views that help you take key decisions in your daily business life. We don't just talk the economy. We serve you a cocktail of business updates that help you make profitable business decisions. Join us every weekday at this time for Business Morning, only on Channels Television. Business Morning, keeping a tab on the economy.
Welcome to Business News. FBN Capital analysts have projected marginal participation by the offshore community in debt management office auctions until liquidity improves in the foreign exchange market. According to the projections, pension fund administrators have been the core bidders at the monthly auctions, while the banks have had to sell papers at the secondary market. The DMO seeks to raise 70 billion naira in reopenings of February 2020 bonds and July 2034 bonds today. JP Morgan's threat to remove Nigeria from its government bond indices remains a major concern in the market. The Nasarawa state government has begun the process of increasing internally generated revenue through exploration of mineral resources in the state. Governor Tanko Almakura inaugurated a 10-man committee to re-evaluate the exploration of mineral resources and maximization of income potential from the mining sector in order to augment revenue accruing to the state. Governor Al Makura and the committee chairman, Mr. Issa Boka, have agreed to a 3 weeks deadline to enable the committee compile a comprehensive list and policy guide for the sector, which has been neglected over the years.
Direction has deprived us of getting the best benefit in this sector. Time is now when every state is looking inwards to ensure that revenues that are supposed to be generated from the state to augment the falling levels of what accrues to the state from the Federation account cannot be overemphasized.
Governor Tanko Al Makura of Nasarawa State. Meanwhile, the Cross River State Governor, Senator Ben Ayade, has signed the state's infrastructure fund bill into law. The law seeks to empower the state government's source of funding its capital projects through private investments. At the signing ceremony in Calabar, Governor Ayade maintained that the government owes its people the provision of empowerment through employment. Let's move now to the crude oil markets. Prices edged higher after an Iran nuclear deal was concluded. Investors believe that it will take time for the country to raise output despite its addition to the market glut. Front-month Brent crude prices, $58.72 per barrel, having inched up 21 cents from the last settlement. Conversely, U.S. crude moved up 28 cents at $53.32 a barrel. And the wait-and-see approach of U.S. Federal Reserve clues on the country's timing of interest rate increase continues to determine the price change of gold. Spot gold shifted position to $1,154.67 an ounce after 2 days of modest losses. U.S. gold for August delivery remained flat at $1,154.30 an ounce, while spot palladium climbed 1.2% to $658 per ounce. That's its third gain in 4 seasons. To other news now, the International Monetary Fund has criticized a third bailout plan for Greece, saying the deal offered by Eurozone leaders may already be in jeopardy. The lender says Greece's public debt has become highly unsustainable and some form of debt relief is now required. Yesterday, the IMF made public the advice it had given to the Eurogroup by finance ministers at the weekend. That advice included proposals that would see some of Greece's enormous debt written off. The disagreement between the IMF and Greece's European creditors over how best to deal with the country's debt crisis has been hinted at before, but this is the first time such a disagreement has been made public. And a diplomatic row may be brewing between China and the UK as 6 British citizens held in northern China are expected to be deported soon. They are among 11 Britons, including 2 with dual British South African nationality, who have been arrested. It is not clear why they are being held. The Britons are part of a group of 20 foreigners detained in Inner Mongolia on July the 10th. African charity Gift of Givers said they were tourists, but China has linked them to a terror group. The charity claims the group includes some doctors and businessmen and none had terror links. UK officials in Beijing say they are seeking further clarification on the reason for the arrests and that consular staff have visited the group to provide assistance. And welcome to Sports News. The Nigeria Football Federation will officially present new Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise to the media and the general public today in Abuja. The Federation President Amaju Pinnick, as well as other members of the Executive Committee, will preside over the presentation at the National Stadium, Abuja. On Tuesday evening, Olise and his assistants had a robust 90-minute meeting with the NFF Technical and Development Committee, where he unfolded his plans for the Super Eagles. Olise will immediately begin the task of preparing the Super Eagles for the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier away to Tanzania in the first week of September, as well as an international friendly some days later. and Liverpool ladies striker Azizat Oshola and FC Minx defender on